Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing good. Excuse me. I need another cigarette after choking in front of you. No, I'm going to relight mine just a minute. I have a couple of topics today. Um, the first one, you might have heard like rumors or different people that say they have documentation and anything written. I mean, especially ancient material, if none of us were really there, we can't prove what's contrived or what isn't. I mean, I know for a fact, being raised by my grandmaster three-time over Mason father with other accomplishments and whatever, but in that area of sorcery and control of others. Excuse me a moment, I get a little pissed talking about it too. So, okay, let me calm down a second here. Um, I know for a fact the Dead Sea Scrolls are fictitious for the most part, no matter what anybody says. And the King James is nothing but code with the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, King James Bible, and Strong's Concordance, Masonic Blue Book. I decoded it when I was 12. Then they started teaching me because they couldn't kill me, and yes, they tried. People are like, oh, I was hidden. No, I've been surrounded by my enemies this entire time. So keep playing with yourself because you're not playing with me. Yeah. Okay. So it said there's some it's not even debate, but you've heard rumors like whether Mary and Jesus were married, whether they had children, or all these different fables that none of us can prove, you know, whether we believe there was really people of that. There's Jesus that um lived in those times that was royalty, but he wasn't from Jerusalem. He was Greek, you know, Greek speaking, and the first Septuagint was written in Greek for English translations. Before that, now there's also some debate on that. But I know for my decoding methods, I used the Greek because they were my opposition and I had to know their game plan and what they were doing against everybody and all the agendas and stuff that I helped put out here 30 years ago. I have been on the internet since the 90s. American Online, AOL, that long ago, you know, putting out my information, my scientific findings with Morgellons and several different things. Okay, so anyway, it said that two things. Jesus was in the park with a little boy, which wasn't a little boy, it was like an adolescent. And the adolescent had some kind of bandage on his privates, and people will translate it linen or cloth or bandage. There's debate on that. There's debate on all these things and whether or not Jesus was involved in trafficking minors or doing things with minors or whatever. That's also a debate. And now there's a debate whether or not Mary was on top of a mountain with Jesus and he offered her his semen, or and she like fell down on her face or something, or the scripture said, or another scholar said at his side. Now there's debate whether or not, how old were they? Were they kids? Were they teens? Were they married? And who is the pervert that was there watching Jesus wanting to have relations with Mary in the first place, who was spying on these people. Now, either one of Mary or Jesus had to have been the one to write that, right? Wouldn't you have to be a witness of something personally? And I highly doubt, unless it was for medical reasons, which a lot of even biochemically induced things like hormones and different things, um, that chemistry, that type of thing, even with having sexual relations, um, he might have been even, we don't know. We weren't there. I want to know, or maybe Mary documented it as a part of that science that she understood better than any of the disciples. So who's to say? We weren't there. So on that note, I'll let it go on that. If you want to see what I'm talking about, Danny Jones' podcast last week had on two professors. Well, one's an ex-professor, um, uh, linguists and classical scholars. And the other one's name was Luke something. And Danny Jones podcast, and then you'll hear um, well, and I listened to about half of it, and I did hear the Professor Luke um say, well, these are stories, um, and it's not in the scriptures, that. I mean, if you can take bits and pieces of different things and change a word and make it sound like a whole lot different than what it actually is. And this person that I'm talking about, that is, I don't know what he benefits from putting this out, because there's so many other things that a person can talk about in life. But I guess um, the sexuality of Jesus, or lack thereof, is a great interest to this person for some reason. I have no clue. It's just weird as, that's all I know. So all of it, not the science behind it, you know, even with being intimate with somebody there, that's actual, you know, it may not even been in a filthy context, you know. So who's to know? We weren't there. So that's my first topic. My second topic is the benefits of pretending the narcissist is dead. And the easiest way to do that, and I've been around lots of them, I mean, they use it as a craft. It's actual things they pass down through families, like a reward system, as adverse as they can be, is how they act. And some of you know exactly what I just said is the facts. So, but the cluster B personalities, um, the traits on those scales, the best way to deal with them, that dark tetrad, is to just pretend they're dead. And it's easy. Once you start looking back at who you thought they were, you know, they're it's like a whole separate person died, you know, and you do grieve, you mourn their death. So you might as well just take it all the way in your brain and say, they weren't even real, you know? And they're dead to you. And it does make it easier to carry on through your life if you stop worrying about what they're going to do in their life, because they're going to do what they're doing. till God takes their flesh away from them and their ability to do that to people anymore. Their day will come, each to their own, you know. But really, just pretend they're dead. It does make everything a whole hell of a lot easier, you know. I wouldn't recommend it maybe if they're your kids. But if they're an entity that pretended they were your kid, um, just to put themselves in a power of position over real human beings, then I don't care if you were my kid, I'd take you off this planet. Just get that straight. I'm not playing here. So those are my two topics. I'm still I got some work to do on that part two of the dual gods of this world. It's really, if you think about it too, and they say like the different spirits of God, that's still God, but the seven spirits of Satan is a whole lot different thing. It's uh, like a corporation where people can draw off of each other. They don't have the insight abilities, not like average people, but they have networking skills that some of us have acquired and others. I mean, some of us have some networking skills that the dark force will never have. you know, but that's their problem. They think, I heard one Kabbalist say, um, they didn't know there was thousands of us. What, my Facebook page? Are you crazy? There's millions of us. Millions, not thousands. I mean, out of 300 million people in the United States, how many of those do you think are actually satanic? Not even 1%. You're way outnumbered worldwide. Even if a person doesn't have a religious denomination like I don't anymore because of the lies that and the indiscrepancies, but I didn't go flying off the handle in the other direction, you know? Just because the religion peed on God's name, the churches, doesn't mean that that's who God is. That's their representation of him, or, you know, the Godhead. And I was willing to work with people that know a whole lot, not enough, but a whole lot more than most people. I was willing to work with you so I didn't have to drag you through the mud that you deserve. Because just being dirty is pretty much punishment, a life of filth within yourself, and teaching that to other people is your fucking walk of shame. But you do deserve to die for the deaths you caused and the blood you spilled to get here. And that's going to be known, and it's going to be known how the semen is used by that dark force against men and women unsuspectedly through our minds, bodies, and our DNA and everything filthy inside there that has gone on to inhibit the Christ spirit and produce more of the dark force within people. So they have control over us. So, yeah. Okay, people, I'm going to get this uploaded. I love you all. I just wanted to wish you a happy weekend. And if you're on the dark side, you have a chance to turn it around today. I'm not going to tell you the day, everything. You think it's flipped? You ain't nothing yet. I'm going to give you something that you're never going to forget. That's Bachman Turner Overdrive. Okay, everybody. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.